Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the What the Sheep podcast, episode 62, to be in fact where Laudna and myself will be discussing and breaking down. And, I mean, there wasn't really anything to freak out about for this episode, so this will probably just be a pretty chill, cut and dry discussion podcast. But episode 3! Already episode 3. We are 3 episodes in to Critical Role Campaign 3. Like in the patterns here. But without further ado, let's just hop right on into it. And the chaos begins immediately as the party finds themselves split up. Some of them staying at this warehouse, trying to get inside while Orem is already there, while Bertrand and Imogen just go chasing after our young friend there, Danis. Maybe not young, but you know.
Youthful at heart.
But one thing that I want to talk about first is these early dynamics that are forming are just so awesome to see, especially because they're in these like high intensity situations with like trying to break in, like, oh my gosh, we can't be seen, like stress. You can really see like how these characters handle that kind of stress and how they, you know, work together to overcome it. And obviously, with Ashton in particular, getting a little bit frustrated that no one else seems to know how to crime. It also gives us a chance to like peek into like some of their backstory stuff a little bit. Yeah,
no, definitely. And it's also too with them splitting up, we get these kind of singular character moments rather than them as a party learning it together, I guess, because then it can kind of makes it difficult for these character kind of aspects to come out. But when they do split up, when you have like Imogen and Bertrand by themselves, and you have Ashton and SCG and Laudna and Dorian and Orem just by himself, you get to see them kind of act a little bit more singularly. Because when Matt was describing the recap, he's just like, and this is where everyone is. What are you doing? And it, like, you feel that in your soul. You're like, these guys are so split up. They are everywhere, and they've all got, it's like 4 mini campaigns. It's great.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And I'm definitely liking the solo dynamic of Orem by himself. Very one of my favorite dynamics so far. Yep. Orem in the darkness. Name a more iconic duo. But it is really cool seeing Matt balance these different scenes they have to play out, because as a DM that is very, very difficult to do. Balancing out these just so many different scenes, all these things happening at one time, and trying to make sure that it still flows and carries on the narrative. Yeah, and
you want to try and keep some kind of chronological sense so that you're not letting one party go off and spend 6 hours doing something and then having to figure out what the other group was doing for the 6 hours without it interfering. Yeah, no, it's a tricky balance, but I mean, it works so well because Matt's very good at what he does.
For sure, very tough. But I hope to all goshness that the creepy messaging of Laudna stays, that sticks, and they keep up that running gag, because it gets me every time. It's so funny. It's
horrifying.
It is.
She's gonna send it to the wrong person. They're gonna be like, "This is not how this spell normally works. Are you okay? Like, what is going on with you?"
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's concerning. There was a moment too, though, that like I wrote down, and I was trying to find it just before the thing, but I'm fairly certain this is the quote. Probably should have rewatched the episode. It's fine. But it was Laudna talking to FCG about the voices and about like the things she'd heard, and she said something along the lines of like, oh, doesn't everyone hear creepy voices, or haven't you ever heard creepy voices? And FCG said something along the lines of, not in a while.
Oh shit, I missed that.
Well, I've got to find it because I'm so worried I wrote it down wrong. But he definitely said in relation to hearing voices, not in a while.
FCG? What the?
So I wanna discuss that at some point, because this little Robert.
Hold on.
I mean, I feel like we're all expecting some extra layers to this automation. I can't.
Right, like knowing. Well, here's the thing. Either knowing Sam, there is going to be some like terrible backstory to FCG, but then in that same thought, knowing Sam, it could just be Nothing. It could just be nothing.
Could just be casual conversation that they're making.
Yeah. It's Sam is just such a wild card that you don't know. But like it's such a perfect setup for something devastating to have happened in FCG's backstory that that's gotta be what it is. It's gotta be.
It's the opposite Pinocchio, and FCG was once a real boy, and they got turned into...
Yeah! I'd be down for that too! Oh my gosh.
There are a lot of possibilities when you have sentience and robot and Sam.
But we did, I can't remember if it was before episode 2, I think it was after, where we got the official domain that FCG is, the domain of empathy, the empathy domain. Which you called 100%.
Yeah. That was a lucky guess.
A pretty good guess though.
But it's really cool. I like the concept of a cleric whose main source of healing or main source of worship is feeling others' feelings and empathizing with people and essentially the therapist cleric.
Yeah.
Which is a cleripeth, a theric, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Therapy cleric. Yeah, so I like that concept. I like the idea that Sam is trying to play this character seemingly so far as, like, I'm here to just help, like share your feelings, share your backstory. It's okay, we can talk this out, we can work through it together until there's some kind of like ulterior motive or something goes wrong and we'll discuss the Iron Giant possibility in the future of like this was a kill bot, but
oh my God.
What if it's like something way worse and something made FCG this way. Obviously, something made FCG. Something made FCG this way to be so.
But then I'm thinking like, maybe FCG wasn't like a killer bot or something. Or maybe because his FCG's design is
100%.
Not quite built for killing.
I was thinking too, though. You look at the design of FCG, and it doesn't look like it was made that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that too.
Like, I get the wheel, but it looks like it's just kind of slapdash put together. Mm-hmm. And maybe made up of mixed match of parts. Because he's got different coloured kind of armor pieces. It's just a torso essentially on a wheel. Like we could have seen legs at some point.
So the only thing that survived from before is whatever his like power source is or whatever makes FCG minus the killing part.
Yeah, and we've talked before about how the back of its their head is like exposed wires. It looks almost like dreads, but they're exposed wires, which might be concerning of like something being taken away from this robot.
Yeah. Again, that just goes back to my Treasure Planet reference of how he reminds me of Ben and the missing memory chip and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at this stage, I think FCG is probably, for me, like the most intriguing character, followed closely by Laudna. But now, after the end of this episode, Imogen is getting up there too, but we won't get into that yet. But speaking of Imogen and character dynamics, I love Bertrand and Imogen together. That was so funny. Wow. Obviously, it's just the amazing chemistry that Travis and Laura have.
Yeah,
but seeing them play off of each other and like the different personality traits that these particular characters have, it is such a funny mix mash of how they handle the situation. Obviously, giving off Bertrand's giving off the directions as he's moving.
Every couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Bearing right. Jump.
That was so much fun. Also seeing Imogen get to kind of use aspects of her charisma stat, because so far from what we're seeing, she's quite nervous and a bit shy, but not without that kind of subterfuge aspect of having high charisma, because we saw it with her trying to dissuade Dana, saying like, no, I'm not following you, I just bumped into you. Like,
Yeah.
she's very quick at like the lying, if that makes sense. Like, and it doesn't come across as, she doesn't come across as scheming, but she's just on her feet when caught out. She lies very quickly and very easily, and convincingly, which is really good, because it happened again later in the hotel room where she's just like they're panicking, and she instantly came up on the spot with like a ruse to kind of get them out of it, which is great. I love this concept of the kind of shy and nervous and haunted character.
This is I have a thought about that now, because she is like more surface level, more shy and reserved, and only really turns on that charismatic when she's trying to like lie or wiggle her way out of something. Do you think maybe that plays into her being like an aberrant mind sorcerer, where it's all about, maybe not all about, but like when I think of like aberrant mind sorcerer, I think of like mind manipulation and like mind stuff. So do you think the reason she is good at these like lies and stuff is because of her like connection with this aberrant nature and stuff, very mind stuff?
She's switched into people's emotions a bit, or about people's kind of perceptions, which is not too dissimilar to FCG, but like, I think that's a really cool take on it. Having that kind of psionic ability to sense people and to then use that to help herself. But it's cool. It's cool. There's a lot of mind shit happening.
I know. This early on, and mind shit is some of the coolest stuff to happen. But real quick, I have a quick story to tell about Imogen. I love the accent choice that Laura Bailey chose. Very farmer's daughter, Southern, and all that good stuff.
Horse girl.
Horse girl. Yep. And we got horse girl obviously confirmed. But something that I laughed at myself a little bit. I was like, man, I really love Laura Bailey's accent here. She's giving me a lot of Jodie vibes from Pillars of Eternity 2. And I was like, and I loved that character from Pillars of Eternity 2. And I was like, I wonder who does voice Jodie from Pillars of Eternity 2. And so I looked it up, and Laura Bailey voices Jodie in Pillars of Eternity 2. I didn't know that, and now I do. So that's probably why I was like, man, she sounds exactly like Jodie.
I like to imagine you with like one of those conspiracy boards where you've got a picture of Jodie and a picture of Laura Bailey, and it's just a single thread.
Yeah.
Going across, you're like, I've solved it.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. I was like, man, she sounds so much like this. I really wonder who did it, because I usually don't like look it up. But yeah, so I had
when I play a game, I'm like,
I had a good chuckle. I had a good chuckle to myself.
That's good. That's fun.
But anyways,
but no, I love Imogen and Bertrand together. I hope we get to see more examples of them working together.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. I really hope this dynamic grows and continues, and 20 episodes from now, they're closer than ever. Yeah. That's what. But
it was very sweet while it lasted. No, Bertrand was great because you had that kind of, as you say, that old adventurer vibe of like, yes, there's no worries at all. Follow me, like I'll lead you around.
Yeah.
But they're he actually did really good in that entire kind of chase sequence until they got to the bar and they immediately lost Dennis. But this was a sneaky kind of rogue, not rogue, we don't know for certain, but a sneaky kind of smaller gnome, so they lost track of her pretty quickly. And then I just loved him at the bar, like pulling his hair out and, like, looking like inconspicuous. And what was it? It was her saying like, "Oh, I don't." He's like, "Can you change your appearance?" She's like, "I can't do that, Bertrand." He's like, "Did you use my name?" Like,
oh yeah.
What are you doing? It's like
amateurs.
Billy or whatever. He's like,
same letter. Same.
Yeah. I loved how seriously he took it. That's what I enjoy. Like he was 100% committed to the mission. Yeah, it was great.
So
it's good to see. Like,
and then I loved the bit of Dennis being invisible and then like waving their arms around, sitting down in her booth. Laura
laughing
breaking
at her own dumb
her
idea.
own joke.
Yeah, because you can tell the moment where she's thought of it, and yeah, them breaking down laughing it's always so much fun to see. But yeah, just waving their arms around, amazing.
Oh god, it's so good. But then switching focus back over to the rest of the gang, they were eventually able to all pile in, and eventually,
They just opened the door.
yeah,
They just broke the lock over the door.
breaking and entering, no big deal. But they ended up finding solid evidence that Danis was fudging around with some stuff. Which, I mean, we kind of already knew, but at least they do have, they had that evidence, that set in stone evidence. But I do want to talk quickly about some Ashton stuff. We can kind of pile in a couple of things in here.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Ashton, I didn't realize this because I'm a fake fan of Critical Role, but on Ashton's official art, on his pants, he has a patch with the clasp symbol on it.
Indeed.
Now, either that's just a fashion statement and they're not affiliated with the clasp, or they are. And I'm leaning towards they are because of their history with crime, but also part of me is like, well, maybe probably not, because why would they like go around showing it off like that? Well, they're not really around here, right?
Not really, no. They're more Tal'Dorei.
So I guess it wouldn't really matter. But still, being a part of the clasp is interesting. But later in the episode, like towards the end, after they had the meeting with Lord Esteros, Ashton wanted Milo to dig up everything and anything they can find on Lord Esteros before they, come to this agreement. Because they said they don't want like a repeat of what happened last time. What kind of a last time? And they mentioned a she, I think.
She. I put she in big letters. With
Yeah.
She?
Yeah. Are we gonna have another Vestaragna type situation?
God. What if it is Vestaragna?
Oh, she's back. Oh. Wait, we have to think of every she that we've ever known in terms of NPCs, PCs. Is it a Sharnai?
Kima. Yeah, it's a Sharnai. We did it.
Yeah. Galadon?
We did it. Full stop. It's Sharnai.
We've, yep. We are the Critical Role detectives.
Literally thinking I would have struggled to keep going if we hadn't stopped on his Sharnai.
Yeah. Posca? Ooh, Posca.
Posca is actually did someone suggest that?
Yeah, Camelot allow in
That's
chat.
like
Posca would be interesting.
The best guess.
That is probably the best guess.
Because Posca was literally part of the class.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh,
that
wow.
actually, yeah. So besides Isharnai, then Galadon, then Posca's out.
Yeah. Posca's a bit down there in possibility, but ooh, the inevitable end. I like that one too. Anna Ripley, she's dead. That'd be cool though. I love Anna Ripley's character. That's a really cool character.
Yasha.
Yasha. Hey, I'm down for it.
Oh, don't joke with me, Ryan. Dylan Tversky. Don't go there.
Oh,
I will go off about Dylan
This is your time to rise, Alana. This is the Dylan Tversky
lore.
Enthusiasts. Yep.
All 5 of us, rise up.
No, it's great. But Ashton
yeah,
having, a connection to the class would be really, really cool. Before, in, previous campaigns, none of them were really connected, like, directly connected to any, like, criminal organization. Really, I mean, maybe, like, Molly adjacent, kind of.
Fax was in the clasp.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Either I didn't know that or I just forgot.
Mark off him, remember?
Oh.
Like, burning heads, like, burn the mark off in the most, like, dramatic kind of way.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that. But this is cool because then we have this.
It is cool.
And like, what kind of debts is he running from, specifically with the clasp, or from someone else, or there's all these questions.
Yeah, I like the concept of debt-ridden characters.
Yeah, because then you know that tells us that at some point they're gonna come to collect. And knowing Matt, it's gonna be at the most inopportune, random times. It's gonna be he's gonna get stabbed in his sleep.
Because I loved in campaign 2, we were always so terrified of like someone coming after Caleb like immediately, or like at any point we felt like someone could attack Caleb, but then we learned later on like, no, we've kind of forgot about you a bit, with its own issues and all that, but there was never that kind of threat. The threat was never really there. But with Ashton, it's like, yeah, like if there are people like debt collecting, then someone could just come out of the woodwork and attack. Although it does sound like they've got their debt under control in the sense that they're paying it off. Not so much that like, they're running from it. So I'm excited to learn more about it and where it comes from and where they come from. Yeah,
we also don't really know if they do have it under control, because I think either Ashton has mentioned before, or just Matt as a general like flavor sense for world building. He said that where Ashton is staying is the place you want to go to lay low and disappear. So Ashton could be involved in some pretty deep stuff, but we don't know.
They don't really make themselves inconspicuous, though, do they?
Yeah. Yeah. No, they are
bright red leather outfit, like like Eddie Murphy style, and then they've got like a big glass hammer. It kind of stands out a bit.
I love that hammer.
It's really cool.
But then, on the top of Ashton still, one other thing about Ashton, jumping ahead a little bit to the combat, because we're still trying to figure out what Ashton is. Like, what is this subclass?
What the hell?
And, we've been talking about, like, maybe like a Dunamantic-esque type of thing, or a spin on, like, Wild Magic Barbarian. But for me, the Dunamancy sirens were going off when they mentioned a red and blue version of himself, like, splitting off in different directions. That gives me, like, Echo Knight vibes. And, like, different, like timelines or different, like, versions of himself did, like, run off in that direction when, when he went into this rage. So I'm still leaning on some Dunamancy stuff for Ashton.
That's still, when I still think of like the red and blue kind of shift, though, I still think of like magnets. So I'm still like
graviturgy, magnetic stuff. Yeah.
Because what is it? It's Dunamancy, at least for the wizard, splits into graviturgist and chronologist, or chronoturgist. So I think there is some kind of aspect of that, because they also used an ability called temporal grasp, which like did something. I can't remember now. I wrote it down, but it definitely did something.
I think it's slow them. I can't remember.
It did that thing where they can't take reactions.
Oh yeah.
Or things like that. Alex Stenville in chat is saying that we know the name of his subclass. Ooh, was that released?
Oh, do we? I think we do. I can't remember what it was though. I think Matt did say.
Oh. Ooh, please share. Yes, please share in chat. I did not see that.
I think it was pretty recently.
Okay. Ooh, I'd love to know the name, because then we can break it down, the linguistics and the etymology of it.
Fundamental chaos. Yes,
really?
That's right.
That's cool. There's a lot to break down with that.
Yeah, I do remember reading that now. So that is very interesting. It could still be, Dunamancy adjacent, but it could also just be more like primordial and elemental and all of that.
Yeah, fun stuff. Elemental chaos is like an amazing place, which I hope they go to some point. Oh, when was that said? I didn't catch that. That's awesome. I'm going to immediately start breaking that down in my head while still doing this.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. I'm sad that then that kind of tosses Dunamancy out the window. But still.
That's a bit, There's definitely aspects of it, though. It's not to say that, like, I mean, Caleb was a transmutation wizard, but he definitely had dunamancy spells and things
Yeah,
like that.
that's true.
Yeah, it's not to say that there can't be dunamantic aspects to their magic. It's just, I just like seeing barbarians with magic. It's always cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
But I guess moving on with the episode, eventually they do all finally converge at this tavern where they hope to apprehend Danis in some way. But as an eavesdropping Orem uncovers,
Oof.
Danis is involved in some shady shit.
Yeah.
And unfortunately met a very terrible end. And Orem, being the likely lawful good, I think Orem's pretty lawful good, character that he is, hoping to save Danis, bursts into the room to try to stop a murder from taking place. And thus we got a pretty interesting combat going.
Very, reminded me a lot of Campaign 1 with Vax kind of going ahead and Cassandra and
Oh yeah.
in the room.
Yes.
But this time the door was locked and they couldn't bust through the door quick enough. Once again, doors being the enemy of the campaign. But that was bad. They rolled poorly to get through that door. I think if they were able to get through, maybe like, not that it's, not rolls are rolls, but it's a shame because it would have been interesting to see how that could have progressed if Danis was saved. But because you feel kind of bad at the end when, like, someone's so scared and so nervous and then they die. You're like, oh,
yeah,
that seems unfortunate.
It's like they probably weren't like really doing it maliciously. It was likely just to make ends meet or make some coin and stuff. But you deal with the wrong people, and
100%.
Sometimes this happens. So
but
it is.
This figure's spooky.
Yeah. Do we know, like? It's a dwarf. It's a dwarf, right? But
is it a dwarga? Is it like
that's
a?
That's what I'm thinking.
The way Matt kind of described their skin and their beard, and the fact that they had essentially like darklings with them, which were called. What do they call them? They called them. I wrote it down.
Shade creepers.
Shade creepers, yeah, but they kind of functioned very similar to darklings. Sallow dwarf, yeah. Sallow dwarf reminds me of the sallow man from Divinity. Very different characters though. Oh, unless they're not.
The
Black Ring.
Oh.
I've been playing a lot of Divinity.
Great game.
Oh, so good. Haven't finished it yet. Why did I say that? Anyway, moving on. It's a really cool, spooky character, and we've got this kind of antagonistic force already. I mean, if we don't necessarily want to keep comparing it to older campaigns, but it is nice to see progression-wise if we compare it to other campaigns. If we look at Campaign 2, by the third episode we had Kiri, and we had like that kind of conflict with this antagonistic force. This feels a lot bigger and more
you mean
organized.
Cowrie?
Cowrie,
Kiri, the little Kenku.
Yes, I understand how that sounds similar when I say it like that. Kiri and Kiri. Anyway, Kyrie?
Yeah.
Kyrie?
Yeah.
Kara? Anyway, oh, it's too early, man. It's too early.
That's all right. No, but you're right, yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting that we've got this, what seems like a more established villain already interacting with the party, some in more ways than one. So it's going to be exciting, I think, to see if this is going to be like a long-lasting kind of arc of a villain, or if this is going to be something that they wrap up in the next couple of episodes. Is it a local threat? Is it, is this links to something wider and more overarching? I'm just excited to see more of this weird dwarf with weird powers and stabbiness.
Yeah, no, that is really interesting if Matt decides to make this more like a long-standing villain for them, because we know, again, not to compare, but we know back in Campaign 2, Matt had planned Lorenzo being a much longer, like, lingering threat and villain, but, they killed him. So
they killed him.
They didn't really get a chance to, expand that villain arc. So maybe this could be Matt's chance to have like a very long-lasting villain. That'd be pretty cool.
Was thinking like how much this guy kind of reminded me a bit of Lorenzo, at least just in like attitude and what's the word for when you're scared of someone? His anonymity.
Anonymity.
And
Sure.
not being anonymous, but like his the bad feels he gives off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The villainous nature that they exude.
Yeah. Yeah. But that
definitely a bastard.
That might be what I was.
Animosity. Oh, I like that. That's pretty good.
Animosity.
That's probably what it is.
Let's not think too much into my inability to think of words. That might be enmity. But anyway, moving on. It was a cool combat. It was really fun.
It was. We got Bertrand attacking Dorian partway through, having the anime slap backhand.
That was so great. And then the call back to that later too, when like, you know, I think it was like Dorian backed up and Bertrand said something along the lines of like, "Oh, I can help you, I can show you, like, let me help you." He's like, "Stay away from me!"
Yeah.
It was like, just
stay back. You're making this worse.
I loved it. I love I love Dorian, and I've spoken before about how much we want Robbie to stick around, but it just keeps getting more and more the want for Robbie to stick around. I think the more we get of Dorian, because they fit so Robbie fits so well with the party, but Dorian is just such a fun character. I love how kind of for a charismatic bard, how uncertain they are a lot of the times, even in combat, of like going like. And I think it just comes from Robbie being a very supportive player and a very kind of team player. It's like wanting to heal, but wanting to help and wanting to fight. And it's, you know, the conflict of a support class, the conflict of a healing class sometimes as well. But I like how Robbie is balancing that. How we have Dorian, you know, giving off heals, but then also charging in after Aurum to help his mate. Despite, like, you know, just running into the darkness and not much else you can do once you're there. It's really cool. It's really fun. And yeah, it's just a great character. And I want them to stay. And that's my petition.
I certainly hope so. But yeah, this fight, awesome. They were able to more or less cleanly deal with these little darkling shade creatures. Unfortunately, our new villain escaped into the darkness of the night. But still, you know, darkness that it was like, I think it was the spell of darkness or whatever. Just creates such an interesting layer to any combat. Just an area of pure magical darkness. Well, you got to go in there and kill the stuff in there, or else, you know.
That's when the arm waving becomes important.
Yeah, yes, that is when they should have implemented the arm waving. That definitely would have helped a lot. But we were talking about this a bit earlier, how Laudna could be confirmed now a shadow sorcerer, or her dark vision capabilities come from her warlock stuff. So I still don't know if we're 100% on what.
No.
We just don't know. That is.
I know Adam has been going hard at this in the Discord and has been, like, you know, compiling everything we know about Laudna so far. So I think if anyone's going to know first, it's going to be Adam. But at the same time, it's there are so many kind of like little bits that we're trying to figure out. Something that I've seen a lot too is how she has a feat, so there's the aspect of maybe she's a variant human. I'm leaning to believe perhaps they all have feats. We just haven't seen them yet. Because there was a moment, and now this is a terrible argument because I can't remember, but there was definitely a moment when someone else used a feat. Oh, it might have been Imogen. She has the telekinetic feat. But again, she could be variant human. Drat. My theory. Busted.
And people are saying she is Shadow Sorcerer.
She is.
Hyde says, we do know she literally read the part of Shadow Sorcerer.
Yeah.
Well.
We don't know D&D.
We are on our game today. We are on top of things. Come to the What She podcast where the experts tell you what's what.
Critical Role podcast, not a D&D podcast.
Exactly.
Gang.
Oh my god.
It's fine. We know enough.
Yeah. I can fake it till you make it. That's
exactly.
That's the name of the game here.
We still don't know anything about kind of her warlock patron. Essentially, she's a level 2 warlock, correct? So we can expect to see maybe more when she levels up, and we get her pact, not her pact, her what's it called? Do the warlocks get at level 3? The pact of the
stuff. Yeah, pact of the chain tome. Something.
Pact of the stuff is what it is.
Yes.
Yeah. So once we see that, potentially we'll get maybe some more in-depth information on who her patron could be. I think when do they get? Oh, I'm just trying to look it up real quick and on the fly. When they get their Eldritch invocations, I think is that also level 3? No,
yeah.
Level 2. So she would have some of those already.
Yeah, I think she has the agonizing blast. Or
that's right.
blast.
Yeah. Boon. Thank you. That's it. Boon. Yes. Thank you.
But upon completing this battle and returning to Lord Esteros, with the evidence in tow, they have a nice little meal, where they a nice little cake created by Lord Esteros himself. I thought that was very wholesome and adorable. The fact that he's trying his best. He's an old grizzled ex-adventurer. He's trying to his hand at cooking, at baking.
I love the concept of this is how it was done in my day. So we celebrate with cake, so you get cake.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's great. But now they do have this established relationship with a pretty prominent figure in this society, which is going to do very well for them with getting into that university that they were trying to get into, or the conservatory. I can't remember what it was.
Conservatorium.
So it's nice to have these established connections very early on. It just gives the party so many different advantages moving about this city. And I also like the idea of Laudna helping remodel his house. I thought that was pretty funny. Imogen basically saying that Laudna has a good eye for furniture and decor. So
yeah, she's wild. Laudna is so good.
Yeah,
just her characterization and the way Marisha's kind of just playing her is so friendly and so out there. It's great, despite the kind of terrifying appearance and the terrifying appearance. Just the fact that she is so friendly and so welcoming. Yeah. I love it. I think it's one of the coolest kind of character ideas. Even besides not knowing what type of sorcerer she is. I'm kidding, we know. I think it's really cool. I think she's such a great character because she's already kind of feeling a little bit not to pigeonhole any of these characters. Mm-hmm. I'd never want to pigeonhole any of the characters, but feeling a little bit like the mum of the group. In the kind of caring for everyone and being very friendly for everyone. Her and FCG are going to be the caretakers a bit. It feels like.
Oh yeah.
With Fern being the chaotic aunt and Ashton's the long lost brother, and
for sure
there's going to be a very caring dysfunctional family.
I'm here for that. The building and the building of the dynamics of these characters and the world building of Drusar and all of these different characters and factions that are going on. It's so beautiful to see unfold and to admire this beauty further. Let's take a look at Alana's pick for her favorite fan art. For this week, a nice little segue there.
Nailed it.
Let's take a look at what Alana chose here. Bum 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 bum. The Beauty of Drusar by @Cercinality on Twitter. We get to see it in all of its glory. So good.
I love personality. There,
Fan art of the week.
Seriously, probably one of my favorite Critical Role artists. I love it. It's so cool. Look at, you can see like
colors, the
Fern and
details.
You see Fern and Dorian and Orem just like stepping off the shit.
Oh my god, yeah, there they are.
It's just so detailed and
my
beautiful,
God.
and I want to go there, but also I'd be scared. I think,
Yeah.
you know, it looks like it's
I'd be
gonna
scared
fall
of the
over at any
heights.
point.
Yeah.
But it's just really, really cool. I'll put a link in chat for people to go
So wonderful.
find and share.
We've featured a lot of personality stuff.
Yeah, when we were in where was it? Ale? What was the Isle Cross and the Living City? Sirs' art of like the Living City is horrifying.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
very,
If you want to see
very
some really cool Cognosa art, definitely go check out Personality.
Loving Drew Star so far, and Personality, you are amazing for making it. Yeah, we'll do my pick a bit later because it's topical to some of the stuff that happens towards the end.
Oh no! Oh god, Nico!
It doesn't mean anything. No.
It's a picture of it's a painting of the cake. It's fine.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. But anyways,
I think I know which picture you picked.
Ooh, maybe.
I reckon I have a guess. And I promise I'll be true if I get it right or not.
But moving on with the episode, eventually they conclude their business with Lord Esteros, and they head back to the Spire by Fire Tavern, where they have a night of drinks and merriment after a job well done and future job prospects. Now, at this point, Twitch chat was going crazy with all of the death flags that Bertrand was giving. So many. Like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm back on top. This group is something special. I'm so happy to be here. It's
2 days away from retirement.
Yeah, I'm so glad. It's like, come on. It
was stressful. It was so stressful.
Yeah. It's because, like, we knew, like, you knew, I knew, they knew, everyone knew. Everyone knew. Like, it was just, they were laying it on so thick. And you can even see, like, the building of stress in the players' eyes, the rest of the cast, as they were, like, listening to all of these things. It's like, oh.
And the insistence of, like, Bertrand walking by himself, because we're always like, let's get you
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like, He's like, no, I want to be alone. It's like, no!
Yeah, as soon as Travis was like, I'm gonna go for a walk, and Dorian was like, well, let me come with you, or like, let me just get you to bed, and Dorian was, and then Bertrand was like, no, I just need to walk the streets. I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't, Bertrand, no. Oh, but then it was like a 180, because then Matt was like, Imogen. And then Imogen had I was like, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, we're good.
Fantastic.
Moving on.
Yeah, and so we had a nice, lovely beginning of the dream with Imogen being back at her home, with her horse girl Imogen.
Flora.
Very, very, very sweet. But then Matt was like, oh, Bertrand, you really got to use the bathroom now. And I was like, no. God damn it. Why do you got to use the bathroom? Why did you have to be drinking tonight? You dumbass.
You dumb.
you freaking idiot. And then it was just excuse me. And then it was just downhill from there.
And there was a moment, though, definitely, where I thought, like, perhaps he's going to be kidnapped. Like, maybe this is just a kidnapping, and then it's going to be, the search for Bertrand Bell. And it might be, Travis brings in a different character, and Bertrand kind of then retires an NPC. Nope.
No, but
nope.
The slow buildup of it, because, like, we all knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when. And I compare this to, well, you can compare it to a lot of things, because this is like a pretty typical, like, story trope, I guess.
Yeah, the old hero dying.
But for me, I don't know. Have you watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars at all, the animated show?
I haven't, no.
Okay, I won't do it. I won't do like any big spoilers.
I'm waiting for an old person that show now just to die.
No, but like the idea of like we know something bad is going to happen. It's just like, when is it going to happen? So we're perpetually at the edge of our seats, just waiting for it to happen. In the last season of the Clone Wars, like the last story arc, we knew Order 66 was going to happen at some point. We just had no idea when it was going to take place. So we were just waiting, anxiously waiting for it to happen. And that's kind of like what it was here. And then when it finally happened, where Matt described that there was like a figure blocking the moonlight, it's like, oh no, it's happening. It's happening, it's happening, it's happening. And
it was very sad.
It was very sad. Very sad.
I want, like, and I've seen a few people in chat already, and I definitely there was a lot of discussion on it on Twitter, which, you know, take a break when you can, about the narrative aspect of the death, which I want to kind of see what you think about that too. The way that there was no death saves, there was no kind of rolling. There was the rolls for the attack, but then it kind of just happened, like Matt told the story. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and we also got Matt after the game giving his insight on how this was essentially a predetermined event, not how it was going to happen or anything like that, but this was something that was going to happen regardless. And I think when you come to it thinking like, well, you know, they didn't follow the rules, or this isn't how D&D is meant to work, you got to think too that this is also a story. This is a narrative that they're telling. It's just they're using D&D as the framework to tell the narrative. Doesn't mean that it can't also just be a narrative that is told.
100%.
And then you could dive into like mechanics and be like, oh well, he had the -3 from the Gambler's Blade and he got 2 attacks and he crit and all that. Like, you could go into all that, but I just like the idea of Matt as a DM playing to what his player wants. Like, if you have a player that says, hey, I kind of want my character to die, like, or I want my character written out at some point, as a DM you can be like, yeah, I can do that. Like, I'll kill him in an alley and it'll be really sad for the thousands of people that watch.
Yeah.
But,
it's like, it's so good. Like, it's just a tragically good ending for Bertrand's character, because I mean, he was an asshole a lot, cocky asshole, a compulsive liar and stuff, but you got to think, he's old, you know, fear the man who grows old in a profession where, you know, people die young. Game of Thrones. But yeah, Bertrand likely lived like a very full life. Obviously traveled with the legendary Vox Machina, made friends that way, met Liev Tell. And to meet an end all alone in a dark alleyway like this is so tragic and so sad. And then even calling out Liev Tell's name as he dies is
that's so sad. It was so sad. Because she's realistically still alive. She's an elf. Like, she's not probably changed much in those 30 years.
Probably not.
It was very sad, but it was very kind of just good storytelling.
Like, it was a fitting end for the narrative of the story and for Bertrand's character, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'd all love to see him retire off into the sunset, but it was also kind of this again, not dissimilar to, spoilers for campaign 2, when Molly died, of Matt saying that, well, now you have a villain, like you've got a an enemy now to pursue.
But
however,
how are they gonna find out?
However, here are the fears. Let me list my fears for you, Nico. Spider. No. The fear is, what if they don't find his body, or the body's been taken? And shout out to Maya, because Maya posted this on her Crit Roll Means account, but it was a fear that I had. What if they just assume he left and abandoned them? And they're like, he did this to his last group. He just told Dorian about how he messed up his last group. What if they're just like, typical Bertrand, like running away from his party?
Oh no.
unless they find the body. If they find the body,
I feel like either they'll find the body, or this dwarf villain is going to make them know that he's dead as like a threat.
Yeah, I can't imagine why the dwarf would be like, I'm going to make them think they're abandoned. Like, I could see it being more, this was, a threat. This was a, hey, leave me alone. So hopefully, but that was a fear of, oh no, they might not find the body and they might think he's just left. But should they find the body, should they realize he died, the angst, Nico.
I know.
We get from Dorian.
Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh, it's so good. I'm so excited for the terrible emotions that character.
But even then, I mean, obviously, they want to keep campaigns separate and stuff. But I mean, Bertrand was a pretty big character in for like campaign 1 extra story stuff. So like Lee of Tell finds out, or like Vox Machina even finds out. Like,
we don't know how he finished up with Vox Machina.
True.
Because I mean, he traveled to a different plane with them, but at the same time, he didn't really show up that much in that.
True.
Show up in the sense that like he didn't kind of be like was super notable. I mean, he was at level 17, I think, at the time, and
two,
definitely level 19.
They may end up not really caring, because it's like they might just like hear like Bertrand died
Bertrand
from someone
died.
like I mean he was probably drunk and he probably did something to piss them off.
Yeah, it kind of saddens me for them to think like, he died, like, oh well. But a little part of me hopes they're like, oh, Bertrand died or Bertrand was murdered. We should, care about this.
Yeah.
I can imagine, but then I can imagine even like Orym wanting to send a message to Keyleth and being like, hey, this happened.
Yeah, this guy that you had previously worked with, I guess, was murdered.
But there's something off about Orym as well.
I agree.
About his relation, not so much specifically to Keyleth, but to the Airashari and to.
Do you think maybe he's on like a similar like a banishment type thing?
It seems like he's banished. It seems like I kind of get the sense that like
a Zuko storyline where he's sent to find someone to regain his honor.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's like banishment straight up, but I feel like it's because the way he talks about it is like with a lot of sadness. Like it doesn't seem to have like when he talks. What is it, Zephyr? When he talks about Zephyr, it's not like with he doesn't sound like he's saying it with a lot of adoration and love. It's a lot of like, I'm from Zephyr kind of thing. It sounds like, and I know Liam had talked about before when wanting to create a half-and character from Zephyr, the initial plan was for them to be a widow. So I don't know if that's...
Yes, I think it was confirmed that he had a husband that died.
Yeah. Not Orym, but I think it was the character that Liam was thinking of making after Vax. But we don't know how much of that has got into Orym. We don't know if Orym also is a widow, which could lend itself more to this kind of negative feelings towards Zephyr that potentially might be there. But yeah, I've just had that thought. I've had that sense for a little while about Orym of, they don't seem they talk about Keyleth a lot and they talk a lot with reverence, but it's kind of like it's not like he's just going to pull out a sending stone and call up his mate Keyleth. Yeah, he's not a druid. Well, yeah, there's a lot of non-druids in Zephyr as well. They're not all druids. Yeah. Like, cause look at what was it? The guy that Liam played.
Derek. Yeah, Derek.
Yeah, which I like. There's a theory floating around that Derek and Orym train together. That was kind of really cool.
I do like that.
Oh yeah, that's my feelings on Orym. Can we talk also, not to constantly domineer the conversation, can we talk a little bit about when Bertrand died, the description Matt gave of the moonlight, and how in Imogen's dream there was a roiling redness of like light that encompassed her and encompassed the entire world she was in. And it wasn't described as like sunlight or anything, but it was just this redness. This ruinedness.
Yeah.
What?
I am back
Huh?
on the Tharizdun train of Ruidus.
Not even.
That's where I'm at. But
Yeah, for sure.
Ruidus.
But, like, Ruidus is definitely fucking around with us.
Yeah.
But the description that she saw, they're gonna be just like, oh, of course, a ladder. I mean, straight away you're thinking, there's dude. It's like it's got like kind of that chaotic and insanity aspect.
That dream was terrifying.
Definitely some fucking Red Moon bullshit happening.
It's gotta
here.
be. It's gotta be. And who is this old man walking into the Tempest? Was that like supposed to be Bertrand?
That was Bertrand. I think that was Bertrand. Yeah.
That was like their connection. Like they're still like.
Yeah. I think that was her sensing that Bertrand was getting destroyed by this creature that blocked the light, with their body. But they blocked the moonlight. But it's seemingly also affecting her dream of her memories. And it's turning it red, and it's and Orm has moon tattoos, and
I know, like it's just lining up. And then we had the Skyrider Rin from the last Plane Rider Rin, the Celestial Alignment. It's all coming together.
Convergence.
Episode 3, it's already all coming together. But speaking of this dream Imogen had, we can take a peek at my choice for fan art of the week. Switching over here, we have this gorgeous Imogen dream fan art by @CT_YCH on Twitter. We have the storm. This torrential red storm.
Amazing.
Oh, I am thoroughly intrigued by whatever the heck Imogen is going through now, given this dream. And can we talk about the light change in the studio when the dream happened? Like the different lighting effects, and there was like the sparks or something flying. Oh man. Yeah. Referred to the storm as the Tempest. Oh. Oof. You can see Bert in the background. Is Bert in the background? Oh my god, he is! I didn't even notice that before. Oh my gosh.
Man.
Absolutely gorgeous.
This person's art's incredible.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through.
Yeah. So, I was already intrigued by Imogen's character, but with this dream alone, now that is increased tenfold. Because is this like a doomsday-esque dream where is this like a prophetic dream where something like this is coming? I don't know.
Camelot in chat saying, "Isn't Kiki called the voice of the Tempest?"
Wait a minute.
This campaign, Keyleth goes wild.
Keyleth is the big bad?
This.
And that's why Orm has left, because there's some stuff going on in...
Could you imagine if Keyleth is the big bad? That's it we're calling.
Oh my god. No way. That's
you heard it
crazy.
here first. Keyleth is the villain of this campaign. She's teamed up with Tharizdun, and they're going to crack open Ruidus and start a new age. She's like, you know what? This kind of I didn't deserve half the heartbreak in my life. Fuck this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go crazy. Oh my god, that would be nuts. But I feel like it's probably more closely linked to maybe her patron, or not her patron. No, she doesn't have a patron. She's a sorcerer. So then what is this? Because she's aberrant mind.
Whatever influence she has from the aberrant mind. That was distracting, Rez.
Rez, you scared me. Not only with the boo, but thank you, Rez. Thank you so much for your continued support. Rez, what do you think? Do you think it's Keyleth? Do you think it's Tharizdun? Yeah. Do you think it's Ruidus?
The notification from Rez in the chat is red.
Oh.
Rez,
Tharizdun, Red, Ruidus, Keyleth. There it is.
Blown this whole thing wide open.
Rez was the key. The missing piece of the puzzle. I love, honestly, I just got here. That's fine.
We're the tinfoil hat section of
I
the podcast.
I love these like apocalyptic dreams because it's like, what does it mean? Is it just symbolism? Is this like someone trying to send her a message? Is this like some like higher power? Like what? What?
Seemingly, it's some kind of memory, right? We get the sense that she's
It could be a memory. Yeah.
Is it an actual thing that happened, or is it just like a constant thing that she is having to live with? Where, it reminds me of something. There's something similar to this, where someone is constantly faced with like this and never-ending hunger or this never-ending entity. And I'll think of it and I'll post it later. But it just it reminded me of the Eye of Sauron, of like this kind of roiling thing of flame or just redness. But yeah, what is it? Is it going to happen again? Is it specific to Bertrand? Is it just because she made that link and because he was dying, or was she going to have this dream regardless? Like, we don't know.
I want to bring to light what Indecisive has said. Indecisive says, we have an Earth Genasi with fundamental chaos powers, Imogen with lightning, everything with the fire plane acting up in EXU. I think this story is about the emergence of the elemental titans once more. Calling it now.
That would be real cool. That links into kind of EXU with the weird fire plane shit that was happening.
Yeah.
And the what was it called? The fuck off.
And Matt heavily expanded on the elemental titan lore in the lore drop they did before this campaign.
Ooh.
That is a very good theory right there, Indecisive. That is a very good theory. And back in campaign 2, I was saying how it really feels like we're building up to a second Calamity-esque event, and this could be the thing that kicks that off. Oh man, a new age is coming this campaign.
Yeah,
perhaps.
I like it. But how does that tie into Tharizdun?
Yeah. Okay. So here's how Tharizdun is still tied in.
Well, yeah. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
At some point, we have to give up on it, but not today, because Ruidus could be still involved.
My final thought is Imogen gets her aberrant mind powers from Tharizdun, but we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it on that little point. But that's a really cool theory. I like the Elder Elemental eye shit. That's awesome. But yeah, Elder Elemental would be cool.
Yeah.
Ooh. Give me some elemental chaos.
That is such a big, that is such a big, possibly true theory, and I'm here for it.
Big if true.
Big if true. If this is it, that is big money. Is there anything else that we want to talk about from this episode? A lot of the big talking points of this episode were these last two scenes. Imogen has definitely gone up on the list of my intrigue on what the heck is going on with them. Mind stuff.
I feel like it's even more than campaign 2, because watching campaign 2 for the first time and you're looking at the characters and you're kind of like, oh yeah, they've got some secrets, they've got some backstory.
Yeah.
But it seems to be kind of, troubled childhood or amnesia or
I swallow swords.
Yeah, warlock shit. With these characters, it's very much just like, oh, they're fucked. There's some really fucky shit happening with these guys.
100%.
What's up with that? And we've already lost a character.
And it's so funny because it's such a contrast to all of their personalities as PCs, because they're all pretty casual, pretty friendly, easygoing. But then their backstories are yeah.
They feel a little bit more adult than the Mighty Nine. They're a bit more like, hey, yeah, we're established. We kind of know what we're doing. I did like someone pointing out that the highest intelligence of the group is now Orem at 13, which is nothing to scoff at. 13, that's 3 above average. But it's they don't necessarily have any of those massive arcane users. I think Dorian's going to be kind of leading the arcane hunt for this party. But yeah, it's nice seeing the balance of the party and how they kind of very, very charismatic, high charisma party, I think, which is always fun. But we don't know what Travis has planned.
We really don't. Because Travis will probably not be around, at least at the start of next episode, until they find the anger. Maybe if that's who it is, or if it's someone else and they come in randomly. I don't know.
Yeah, like, yeah. What the hell? We're gonna have. I mean, I hope we can get Travis back at the table next episode because I just want to meet a new character. I want to see new
Yeah.
art and all that. But like realistically, think about like when Molly died, we didn't get Caduceus for was it like an episode and a half or 2 episodes?
Yeah. Right about that. Yeah.
Travis will be old wizard lizards. I like it. I'm on board for wizard lizard.
Oh my god.
Lizard wizard. Yeah.
I'm here
Oof.
for that. I'm here for that.
Yeah, it makes it tricky because it's like, what are they? Who are like? Just tell us. And then we're still got like the unexpected whatever it was like abandoned
Yeah.
expectations.
Throw all expectations out the window.
Do we expect to see more kind of characters changing out and more either like co-DMs coming in or new characters coming in? Yeah, it's exciting. It's interesting. It's like change. But also cool.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people talking about the name of the party. What if they do end up going with like the Bertrand Bells in honor of Bertrand for bringing them together? That would be pretty.
I like the Bellends, but that might be a bit too silly.
Oh my god!
This grown-up adventuring party. And
yeah, maybe.
But the Bertrand Bells, or just the Bells, even.
Yeah.
The Brave Bells.
Brave Bells, I do like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Not the Bellends. Fear them. No, that's great. And well, we only have a few more days to wait until the story continues, and we see hopefully the party realizes that he's gone. He's dead.
You know what? Because we've got this episode coming out on the 11th, and then they're taking the break, right? It's the third Thursday of every month.
The last Thursday.
The last?
I think is what it was. So we have. It might be the third. I thought it was the last.
Don't correct us if
Well,
we
third.
get it
Wait, third. I can't remember.
But either way.
But the break is coming up. Yeah, the break is coming.
When's Thanksgiving? When's Thanksgiving for you all?
2 weeks.
Last Thursday. Oh, starting.
Oh, that's true. So they might actually take off for Thanksgiving as well, in addition to that week off. Maybe, but they do pre-recording. So.
True.
Oh, that's right. The last Thursday break is starting in 2022. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Cool. I remember them saying that.
Cool. Never mind then.
Yeah.
No stress.
We know our stuff here. We're on top of it.
Yeah. God damn.
We're
we're fine.
That's all the time we have for today, folks. And that is it. But no, this was a really awesome episode. I love that we're getting this much angst on episode 3, and it just sets the tone for the first arc of this campaign. Tracking down this dwarven person. We're kicking it off fast because we didn't really get the first semblance of an arc until episode 12 of the first campaign, where they got the dodecahedron. That's for me when it felt like they really had a main plot point.
Yeah. There's something bigger at play here. 100%.
But now episode 3, hopefully they'll have a goal. They still have to find his body and figure out that he was murdered. But there we go. Episode 3. Things are already getting spicy, getting angsty, and I cannot wait for more. Really, truly. And so, I suppose with all that being said, we can go ahead and call this one a wrap. As always, thank you all so much for joining us in chat, sharing us your thoughts and theories and stuff with us live. And thanks to everyone who's going to be watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple or Anchor or wherever else this podcast may find itself. Thank you all so much for your continued support. As always, don't forget to love each other, but most importantly, don't forget to love yourself. That is the most important thing you can do. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Drink some water, eat some food, get plenty of rest. You deserve it, and I'm proud of you for being here. So, hope you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of your morning, day, evening, wherever you may be on this glorious earth. And we'll see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.